Hello everyone, welcome to Legal Darshan. In today's video, we are going to talk about Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023, which is the Act number 45 of 2023, right? So as we already know that there are three laws which have been enacted by our parliament in the winter session of parliament back in 2023. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which is BNS, it has repealed the application of Indian Penal Code. The Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, which is which has replaced CRPC from 1st July, and Bharatiya Sakshi Adhiniyam, which has repealed Indian Evidence Act, has been come into force now from 1st July onwards, right? Now these three laws, they have brought a total criminal overhaul to our legal system, right? Total overhaul to our criminal legal system. So it is imperative to first draw the differences between the old act and the new act, which will basically lead us to know that what was actually the need to enact the new codes, right? Now, one thing which is very interesting to note here is that Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is Act 45 of 2023 and IPC was Act 45 of 1860. So the act number here is same, if nothing else. All right. Now, both the act share the same act number, which is the number 45. Now, it was just an interesting fact to note, and therefore we have noted it for you. Now, when we talk about BNS and IPC, there have been a lot of questions that did we really need BNS? Did we really need Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita when IPC in itself was a very, exhaustive code? It was covering everything due to the wisdom of old people who have enacted it. The answer lies in the changes that we have witnessed in the BNS. Okay. Now let's talk about first thing that I observed while reading BNS and IPC. There is strengthened gender neutrality in BNS. Why? Because earlier in IPC, when we used to read 354C and 354B, which is disrobing, and 354C is voyeurism, both the sections were only applicable to women. Voyeurism plus disrobing, disrobing is 354B, they were only applicable to women. Now, the provision under BNS, which is incorporated in Section 76 and Section 77 in the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, it makes voyeurism and disrobing, it makes gender neutral. It makes it gender neutral. Now, not only women can file a complaint if she's suffering from voyeurism or disrobing, but also a man, a male person also can invoke this section if he has been harassed in such a way. So only with respect to voyeurism and disrobing, the provisions have been made gender neutral. So this is one good thing that was observed in BNS. Now, another thing that strengthened the gender neutrality is that earlier in Section 366A of Indian Penal Code, which talked about procuring of minor girls for sexual exploitation, now it not only extends to girl, but also it extends to child, which means that procuring even a minor girl or a minor boy from anywhere for the purpose of sexual exploitation, it will be punishable. Earlier, it was only with respect to girls, but now it is with respect to the minor, whether girl or a boy under the 18 years of age. So this again has extended a benefit to the males in the country, minor males in the country. Now, However, there are certain harmful things as well. I'm just giving here a gist, and after this, we will move on to the exact comparison and the exact developments in the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Right now, one thing that BNS has done is, even though there is no significant change in the language that has been used in IPC and in BNS with respect to definitions, now BNS has made them, in an organized cluster. So all the definitions that we used to study from section 6 to 52A is now clustered in alphabetical order under section 2. So overall, this section 2, it is providing us with 39 clauses, which means 39 definitions, whereas when we used to, and that too in the alphabetical order. So your first 2 clause 1 starts with act, and 2 clause 39, it goes on to wrongful gain and wrongful loss. 2 clause 38. Your 2 clause 38 goes to wrongful gain and wrongful loss. All right. So the definitions has been clustered alphabetically under one section, like it is there in all other acts, right? Now, section 6 to 52A, when we used to study IPC, we used to study section 44, 40 is talking about offense, 44 used to talk about injury, right? 24 used to talk about dishonestly, 25 used to talk about fraudulently, etc., etc. So these definitions were there. The definitions are still there. More or less, the language is very same. But however, here they were not clustered. They were not alphabetically placed. So anybody who is now trying to remember the definitions by their section number can now remember it much better because they are placed in alphabetical order. Another important thing is transgenders. How does BNS deals with transgender? Because one of the major problems that IPC faced was, how do you locate offenses against transgender? Because when we defined a person or when we defined a man, right, it included only man and women in IPC, right? But now in BNS, the definition of a man, wherever you are using the word he, it construes man, women, as well as transgender. Not man, he. Okay. So there is an extension to the transgenders as well. And transgender, what will it mean? It will have the same meaning as it has under the Transgenders Act of 2019. Right? So this one development has been seen in the IPC. However, there is one lacuna that I have personally felt to be there, is based on the judgments given in Navtej Johar and Joseph Stein. The drafting committee of this BNS, it has totally eradicated section 377 of the erstwhile IPC and section 497 of the erstwhile IPC, which dealt with unnatural offenses, unnatural sexual offenses rather, and section 497 used to dealt with adultery. So these two provisions have been deleted, totally deleted. They have not been written into the new Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, which in my opinion, completely removing section 377 is not really a suitable thing to do, because a part of section 377, even after being read down by the courts, was protecting the transgender community and the third gender community. Right. So, however, discussions have been going on in Delhi High Court regarding the deletion of this particular provision. Let's see how the fate will revolve around it. I hope this is clear to you what we are discussing. Now there is one more interesting addition in the BNS. So the definition of child has been included. Now, child is any person who is below 18 years of age. This definition was not there earlier in the IPC, but now it is there in the BNS. So the definition of child has been included. Definition of child included, mention of transgender has been made, which was not there in IPC. Then yes. Now there is one more thing. Earlier, IPC was referred to be an exhaustive code that if you want to refer to any other act and you cannot find the definition, you will come back to IPC. But now the lawmakers, they have said that for any word which is not defined in BNS, you can find the meaning as contained there in IT Act or CRPC for BNSS, pardon, IT Act or BNSS or BSA for a matter of fact. So basically, it shows that all the criminal laws, they are having mutual inclusivity, right? They are not mutually exclusive, but rather they are mutually dependent. For example, if you don't find definition of one particular object, you can always refer to another object. For example, if to define electronic record, what importance is electronic record, the phrase is playing out in the section in IPC, I can always refer to IT Act because IT Act defines what is electronic record. Earlier, it was not there in IPC. Another thing that is an addition in BNS is community service as a punishment. Community service as a punishment. So earlier in Indian Penal Code, we used to study 5 kinds of punishment. Now, those 5 kinds of punishment were sentence, capital punishment, right? Then we had forfeiture, we had fine, we had a sentence of nature rigorous and simple. Capital, forfeiture of fine, and so. But now we have introduced community service as a punishment under BNS. Okay, Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita now talk about community service as a punishment. But the condition imposed here is that community service can only be awarded. It can only be awarded where the offense is not very, very big in nature, it is petty in nature, and there is a scope of reformation in the offender, right? Another purpose for introducing community service as a punishment is so that jails should not always be overburdened. This is also one of the reasons why this particular provision has come into existence. So 5 kinds of punishment earlier was sentence, rigorous, simple, and life imprisonment. Then we had capital punishment, which is death penalty. We had fine, we had forfeiture of property. Now there is an addition of community service. Moving on. Now, yes, now we also have the provisions against mob lynching. Okay, so earlier the act only provided for murder. Okay, murder or culpable homicide under section 299, 300. But now the act also provide for circumstances like mob lynching in which a murder happens, how will we deal with it, right? So mob lynching is a new introduction in the criminal jurisprudence of penal code. All right. Then next changes. Yes, Section 69 in the BNS. Your Section 69 speaks of sexual intercourse by deceitful means. Okay, so this section basically says that if you are having sexual intercourse with any person, yeah, sorry, with a woman, now then it should not be based on deceitful means. For example, it should not be based on a promise of employment, for a promise of promotion or a marriage, right? So basically, there should be no deceitful means to obtain the consent of the woman. Now, the women here can be unmarried as well as married, right? So Section 69 can be invoked where there is a sexual intercourse, but the consent and the will of the woman has been obtained by deceitful means, by keeping her in dark. Now, this section also provides for organized crimes. Okay. Now, this act. So there is an introduction of organized crimes in the new penal code, which earlier was not there in our IPC. It also defines what acts can be called as terrorist acts. So earlier we did not have any kind of definition of terrorist acts, but now this act has been providing it. Okay. Yeah. So these were few changes that I have observed while having a good study of the BNS against IPC. Now, I'm pretty sure that there will be many more changes which will unfold throughout our journey of studying BNS while we will be studying it to use it in our daily lives, whether it is for preparation, whether it is for litigation. These were few foremost changes that I have observed. I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this brief description of what BNS provides as against IPC shall be useful to you. Thank you for watching. Please stay tuned with us. Keep following us and subscribe to Legal Darshan. Thank you very much.